Man, as many times as I hear that song, that opening, I can't get enough of that. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Onesti from Rock and Roll Heaven here in St. Charles, Illinois, just outside of Chicago at the Arcada Theater. Welcoming you to Artists on Lockdown, our weekly show that we do some hanging and banging with some of rock and roll's biggest stars. And my brothers on this show, I'm going to welcome them onto the camera now. Vinnie Appice, that's right, the drummer from Dio, from Black Sabbath, from Last in Line, and his older brother, now my older brother, the legend himself, Carmine Appice, from Vanilla Fudge, Jeff Beck, Rod Stewart, all these great, great bands. And we have with us another Vinny. Now, I don't think you're Italian, Vinny, so you're got to be number two, which is how it works on this show. But we have,
actually, I am.
You are. That's why we got you on here. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2003, he has been the guitarist in the legendary, iconic rock band UFO. Please welcome Vinny Moore. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Man,
Good.
it's great to see you.
I don't think we could hear Vinny, my brother. Hey, Vinny, do sign language. Do sign language.
Yeah, he's going to do
Let's
some of
get
this
him to like
Italian sign
mime
language.
us when we talk.
Well, you know what? We're going to rock and roll with it. We'll keep going with it. And,
You know, drummers are always too loud. For once, we can't hear them.
Well, especially Vinny.
especially, he is the banger. He is definitely the banger.
Yeah,
So,
I'm the hanger, he's the banger.
So what you been up to, Vin, during this whole freaking pandemic crazy stuff?
I've been doing a lot of DIY, man. Just things around the house that I haven't been able to get to for years. I finally had some time to get things done. And I'm past that now. I'm going to start doing some musical stuff, you know, writing and recording some new stuff soon.
I have a question.
Working on some videos for songs on my new record.
Is that the record that Stevie mixed?
Yes, Soul Shifter.
Stevie D. Yeah.
Did a great job, man. Awesome guy, very talented.
He's awesome. Yeah, we're finishing our new Cactus record. Once we finish the mixes, we're going to give him the mixes, and he's going to bounce them all to analog and back. And,
oh wow!
The next Cactus record we do, he's going to definitely mix it. You know.
I'm excited about it.
Great player, man. Great mixer. Great recorder.
Yeah. Good guy
So
too.
let's touch on that, Vin. Soul Shifter came out in October. And then, you know, you're just about getting a head start, getting a running head start, and all this crap happened. So have you got plans to do some support, some live support once the pandemic is at bay?
I thought you said some porn. No plans to do porn.
One more. You're done with that, huh?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's like when I was younger, man. All our dates are canceled for the whole year, and we had a lot of dates, unfortunately. So I'm kind of a little bummed about that. But luckily, I got a solo tour in January that I got in, and then a UFO tour right after that in February, which ended on a cruise. You know, I was on a cruise. I've been to Italy. When the whole COVID thing started, I was in Italy.
Oh,
so I'm lucky to have escaped all that stuff, fortunately. And I'm home, safe and sound, and ready to go out there and rock whenever we get the word that it's okay to do so.
Well, you know, everybody wants to know. I mean, you know, we're going to go deep into your career a little bit. You know, Vinny, Carmine got a bunch of stuff they want to talk to you about. But, you know, we get questions from the audience, and everybody's like, you know, even at the Arcada, it was like the retirement tour, the last show of UFO.
Last order.
The next 50.
Last order.
So, what do you think? Is it still going to keep happening?
I certainly hope so. I know a lot of our dates are getting pushed back to next year. So, you know, we'll rock in 2021. Everybody wants to keep going. Phil is kind of thinking he's ready to throw in the towel. but he's back and forth a lot, man. You know, I think he had a health scare a couple of years ago, and that kind of determined his decision to not go on to announce the farewell tour. But we're all kind of hoping he'll, you know, change his mind and want to do it a little bit more.
Yeah. So 1987, I believe you and Carmine had a little bit of a run-in.
Well, I think I first met him.
It was a run, not a run-in. It was a run. Yeah, I was doing a clinic for Philadelphia music down there. My friend Tom Hunter. Remember Tom Hunter? Vinny,
I don't, but I remember Larry Nowley in Delaware. It's I think where I first met you.
Yeah,
and then we did Philly too.
Then we did Philly. And anyway, so you know, my clinics, I always had a guitar player play with me and a bass player, and usually they sucked, you know. And it was the same, yeah, right. I don't think so, because I was doing like, I don't know what, 10 cities maybe we did, something like that, 8 or 10 clinics. And when I played with Vinny, Vinny was just monstrous. So I told my Sabian guy, I said, dude, we got to take this guy with us, you know. So he had his first album just coming out, right? Am I right?
Yeah, Mind's Eye.
Yeah, he had the first album coming out. So we went out, and that was, I guess, Vinny's first tour to support the album was on my clinic tour. And that's when I met him.
Right, I was like 21 at the time.
You know, it's something, we do this thing every week, and there's just nobody has not been, or I should say, there's nobody that Carmine is his professional life he's not touched. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, really, over the years.
Everybody.
Well,
really. So
hey,
now,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome.
Hey, it's the fun. Vinny and I played together at the NAMM show for Tama and Ibanez.
In 87.
What year was that?
Yeah, also 87.
Same year.
The same year.
And Ronnie came in. I remember Ronnie being there watching us. I was so nervous.
Is that great? Is that where that great picture came from of Vinnie, Appice, Ronnie, and you?
Yes, the Ibanez Tama booth at NAMM in January 87.
Wow.
Yeah. It was hot as hell in there too.
It was very hot.
When we got going.
You a big Ronnie James fan growing up, Vinny?
Absolutely. It started with Rainbow, that first Rainbow record, and Rising, and Long Live Rock and Roll. I was a total Richie freak, and so yeah, he got Ronnie, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. You got another. Oh wow, that's totally cool.
So
he had more hair back then.
Yeah, you see, there's an inset of a looks like of a different time on that picture. Did you meet
87? The inset is 87 at NAMM, and the other one is maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago in Camden, New Jersey, at a Heaven and Hell concert. Yeah.
Well, it was at least 10. It was at least
10 because he passed away 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Today's his birthday.
He's in the old math.
Today's
Ronnie's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
He would have been 77,
man.
Wow, man.
Older than me.
What?
Really?
Older than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's scary. Hey, Ringo's older than me too. He just turned 80.
Yeah. That's a big day a couple days ago.
It looks great, Vinny. Somebody asked me today, I was doing an interview, and I said, well, do you think you'll be touring when you're 80 like Ringo? You know, Ringo's still out there touring. I said, look, if I was touring like Ringo tours and, you know, probably private jets and everything else, it's easy to tour like that. I said, when you're touring like the way we tour on like a Sprinter van or a bus, or
it's a lot more.
You know, it's a lot different. You know, I said he probably has his own doctor and masseuse on the tour with him.
Yep.
Why didn't I write "Hey Jude"? Damn it!
I was just about to, and he stole it from me.
That's only one.
Yeah, right. That's it.
I mean, you listen to that Beatle channel. There's so many hits. It's unbelievable. And then you get Paul's hits, then George's hits, then Ringo's hits, and John's hits. It's unbelievable.
Well, Ringo's hits, they say he's right up. I haven't counted them, but they say he's right up there with all the other Beatles. Not as many as Paul, but almost as many hits from his solo career.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of hits. I don't know. I never counted. Really? When you hear him on that Beatles station, it's a lot of hits.
So another question, Mr. Moore. So we know Schenker left, early on, actually. I mean, when you guys come by us, there's always somebody, and they're yelling out Schenker's name, or that kind of thing. How much of that is his style, obviously being from Germany, from being European, heavy duty European? How much of his style would you say still resonated with the band after he left, or would you say it's completely different?
Well, he wrote a lot of the songs, so of course that element is always going to be there. And also there's the fact that, he was one of my heroes growing up, so I've been influenced by him. So there's always going to be a little element of what he does there because of that fact. But, I try to touch on the things that are important to the songs that need to be there. And then I go off and do my own thing also when there's space to do that.
Yeah, I played a lot of those songs too with Schenker when I toured him.
Oh yeah, you did that with Elliot. I remember that.
With Elliot, yeah, and Schenker, that's when I tore out my shoulder, my first rotator cuff. It was my left one, and I did one of these moves. And I went up for the right at the China symbol. You can't see it in there. Really high for the China symbol. I got such a pain. I pulled my arm down. I said, "Oh man, my solo's coming up." I couldn't even move my arm. It was stuck on my belly, basically.
Oh man!
So I was trying to get his attention. I'm going, Michael, and he's like, never moved from that position. Just looking down, playing. I did the worst drum solo of my career that night.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sure it was still pretty good, even with 3 limbs.
Yeah, I tried. But
so
he's amazing. He's a great player, but like he's on stage, he's like in his own world.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
In fact, I opened for him in '99. We did 32 shows together in America, and that was a really cool experience. At that point, he had a little zone on stage, like he had his tech put down white tape. The front line had to be like 8 or 10 feet in front of the amp, and then he had a little border, and nobody could go into his zone, and he didn't leave his zone.
Wow,
it was pretty crazy.
He was social distancing.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
Vinny, you're breaking up.
He was social distancing.
All right.
He
was before his own time.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Did
funny.
you
Yeah.
So you mentioned Elliot and another guy. I mean, we miss very much. I know you had that deal with Dean with the series.
Yeah.
How much were you a part of that development of that whole series?
Series of what? Say again.
The guitar series with Dean.
Oh, well, I had my own signature model. So yeah, I was very involved with that from the very beginning. Flew down to Tampa, went to the shop, and we started with a guitar that was, a Super Strat, which is kind of what I play. And we were like making modifications. They were taking it down to the wood shop and carving out the heel of the body.
While you were
the next
there?
line, I think definitely tweaking it, moving knobs around and whatnot.
Well, you guys all have your deals, Carmine, Vinny. I know you guys have obviously your drum deals, your Ludwig deals. How much I've always wondered. I mean, I know obviously, hey, if there's some whatever it is, your personal deals, whether there's cash involved or there's product involved. But I would imagine that in this time, or when you're talking about your craft, it really is about the quality of the product and money second. I gotta believe that.
Right.
It is. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always been like the product, and I was lucky when I was developing a lot of stuff. I was at Ludwig, and we didn't have any front money or anything, but they always guarantee clinics. And I'm sure you had that kind of deal too, Vinny. Where Dean would say, "Well, you got X amount clinic," and Vinny Guitar Vinny had those kind of deals too. Like Michael Badio, they say, how many clinics are in the deal, but that started going away. That started going away lately when everything started going online.
Right.
I'm still with D-Drum, and I love the drums they made for me, and they're not anything like my old drums are totally custom sizes and everything. Mine are pretty stock sizes, but they sound great.
So
Sweet.
Vinny, you're a pretty. I mean, I've known you for a bunch of years now. I'm honored, just like with these other guys, to have worked with you. You've come to the Arcada. We've done a bunch of things. We did a show in Florida. I don't know if you remember Fort Lauderdale. Before you,
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, before you went on a cruise.
Rock cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that, and my buddy Mike Piazza from the New York Mets was down there.
He was. I hung with Mike.
Great. That guy is a freaking rock and roller, like knows the deep bands. He's coming up with names of bands. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's a real
yeah. He plays drums a little bit, I think. He plays drums. He's a really good guy.
He loves it. So, again, I've worked with you a long time. You're one of those real, like, humble guys in rock and roll. I mean, we talked about Shaker a minute ago. Think about his personality. Think about what he's about. And then think about Vinny Moore, the differences in personalities. Take us down the road a little bit, how the whole UFO...
Well, we're both crazy.
Well, that's for sure. How did the UFO journey begin for you?
They were looking for a guitar player, and their initial idea was that they wanted to find a guy from England, because Phil and Paul were in England. And they couldn't really find anybody, so they expanded their search to Europe. Couldn't find anybody in Europe. Initially, I think they talked to John Norum, but he was doing the Europe thing again. And so they basically then expanded their search worldwide. And that's when I heard about it through a mutual friend, Jerry Carrillo, who used to do sound for them and also was like my production guy. And so he said, hey, you're looking for a guy I think Vinny would really fit in well with the band. And then he had them contact me, and basically I sent like a CD of maybe 10 or 11 of my songs to Phil, and I didn't think I'd even hear back about it, to be honest. But about 2 weeks later, my manager called and said, hey, Phil really liked your stuff, and he wants you to join the band.
So nice. It wasn't even like a trial. He wants you to join the band.
Right. He was looking for a guy to come in and not only played well, he wanted a songwriter. That's what he had with Schenker and the other guys. And he wanted a guy that he knew could write songs. And I think he liked that I was also a songwriter. And we never even got together. Like, the first thing we did is we met in Germany to do that first record. And we were just kind of corresponding by phone. And I was sending my ideas to him. And he was working on things at home. And then we got together to record. We rehearsed for like maybe 10 days in the studio. And Jason Bonham actually joined the band at that time too. He was the first drummer when I joined the band. Yeah, he was there for the first 2 years, I believe. And we just went through these songs, put our ideas together, and started laying it down. And the tour didn't happen until months after that.
And here you are 17 years later.
I thought maybe this will last like 3 or 5 years, whatever. I never thought it would go 10. And here we are like 17 or 18. And I'm going, what? Where'd that time go? It's just insane.
Well, I've never been in a band 17 or 18 years straight.
I hear you.
You haven't been married that long either.
Well, I've been with Leslie that long. I'm good.
Leslie,
actually 17 years. But
luckily,
look, I was married 50 years. Remember that. To 5 different women.
Who?
Yeah, let's go to the Rod Stewart marriage counselor there.
Yeah, right.
He's got it figured out. They all hang together. I mean, he's got the whole deal figured out.
I know that's really pretty wild. The whole bit that Rod does. He has holidays, all the wives, all the kids get together. Yeah. I could never do that.
How wonderful. I couldn't even imagine that.
An ex-wife orgy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So, Ben, you've got obviously, you've been with the band 17 years.
You got to say which Vin you're talking to.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, Vinny, you're with us, right?
Oh, Vinny's Fin Band.
There he is.
Yeah, call me.
I know who you're talking about. I know.
Whatever. Call me Barbarino.
Yeah.
So, what's it? Hey, Moore. What's this about?
Moore.
What's about the shrapnel years?
What about it?
I mean, tell us about. I'm getting a lot of questions about just about the shrapnel years, artists you work with, that kind of thing.
Oh, that was real exciting, man. My first record was on Shrapnel, and that's where I met McAlpine. He played keyboards on that record. Tommy Aldridge was on drums, Andy West on bass. And Tony and I have known each other for years, you know, always kept in touch and have done things together. We just did a tour of Japan like a year or two ago, which was a lot of fun. And, you know, and then I left Shrapnel and didn't come back again until 99 for my second record, which was The Maze. And then I did Defying Gravity with Shrapnel and then also a live record. So I have like 4 records on that label, and it was awesome to be a part of that when I was first starting out. A young colt from Delaware flying out to San Francisco to be on a record was totally insane and surreal for me.
Well, it had to be
which record did, hold on, Ron, which record did Joe Franco work with you on?
He played on my second record, Time Odyssey, and my third record, Meltdown.
Right. Now, Joe Franco, Ron, is one of my students.
Oh,
that's
well,
why
like I said before, who isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
He was literally a student. He came to my studio on Long Island and took lessons from me, you know, when I had that. And I remember he was telling me, yeah, I'm playing with this guy, Vinny Moore. I said, yeah, I know Vinny Moore. I said, he did his first tour with me on the clinic tour.
Carmine, awesome guy, awesome player.
Are you guys, I mean, I know, you know, obviously Vinny Moore, you've got instructional videos out. I know these two guys doing books out and clinics. Carmine, are you still doing a lot of lessons, a lot of clinics, that kind of thing?
No, clinics are dried up, probably for Vinny and for all of us, really, because the music stores are fading away because all the pop music has no guitars in it. You know, there's no more heroes, you know, so the music stores. Yeah, the music stores are died, but you know, I know Vinny does some clinics. My brother Vinny does clinics online. I'm about
my
to
cousin
start doing
Vinny.
that. My cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I'll be my cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
No, your brother Vinny.
But I'm still selling books. The books are selling still.
That's great.
The DVDs don't sell that much anymore either because everything was ripped off.
Yeah,
I'm selling drugs now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
So is there somebody, you know, you've been doing, obviously you play with a lot of different people, Vinny Moore, like these guys have as well, of course. I see that, you know, you had some tremendous experience with Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit with Frampton. Was that anywhere near the, I mean, it had to be after obviously the 1976 multi-platinum album.
Yeah, I was in like 6th grade then. So
right,
yeah,
exactly.
He was doing this guitar circus thing and having guest guitar players come up, and the night B.B. King was opening for him, and so I went on stage and played, and I thought I was just going to come up and jam with him, but it turns out the band wanted to learn 2 of my songs, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? They're going to learn my songs? So I went up and played with Frampton and his awesome band, and we did 2 of my songs, and then While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and it was really nerve-wracking at first, but I had to start the first song like unaccompanied, a little guitar thing, but it was a lot of fun, man. We had a blast.
You know, my question to all 3 you guys, you know, you guys, as I touched on a second ago, you know, you guys spend your careers, you're in and out of other pros' lives. How often do you guys actually keep in touch? Like, oh, look at that. Frampton's guitar.
Yeah.
There it is.
Nice. Wow.
2013.
Signed by Peter.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's cool, man. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I got a question for you. But as I was saying, you guys, you know, again, you play for everybody. You play with everybody. You know, do you guys as a brotherhood actually keep in touch the way the rest of us semi-normal people do, or plain people? Do you text Jeff Beck? Do you know, say hello to Ozzy, send him a Christmas card? I mean, do you guys keep in touch with your peers that way?
Some of them.
Well, Ozzy comes over for coffee a lot to my house.
I bet.
I wish I could text Jeff Beck.
Danish. No.
Beck is
I
one of my
stay in touch
heroes.
with
I would call him right now if I had his number.
Jeff and Rod.
Carmine stays in touch with everybody. He's the man. He's the central networking.
I do.
Man.
The Godfather.
I'm the Godfather. I'm the last man standing from my era.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with Rod and Jeff Beck and those guys?
Well, I try and keep in touch with Jeff Beck, but he never answers his email. He was never good on phones or email. I did lately get a bunch of emails from Rod Stewart when I told him I was moving down here to Florida because he has a place down here. He comes here in the winter. So he said, well, when I'm down there and you're down there, we must get together. You know, and I talked to him on email a few times. And I was lucky. I think I mentioned he invited me to his 70th birthday party, which I didn't expect. And when we got there was maybe 50, 60 people there. And he said, everyone here I consider really close family and friends. I said, oh, nice. So, you know, that's about it. But Jeff Beck, I haven't talked to him in a while. I pissed him off the other day.
Really?
With a headline in an interview, which, you know, because I was on the Blow by Blow record originally, and I ended up not being on it. And, you know, I was thinking of suing him because I never got paid a dime back in the day, in 1975 I'm talking about. And then I thought not to. I said, forget it. My manager said, why don't you sue him? Let's get some money out. I said, forget it. I don't want to do that. I'd rather have Jeff as a friend. So I never did it. But the interview said Carmine Appice was going to sue Jeff Beck. Right? So that ended up it was in ultimateguitar.com, Vinny. So, you know, all you guitar players read that shit. Right? So he read it and he got pissed off, and we're trying to work out a new deal for BBA Live record 1974 live at the London Rainbow, which is already mixed with Jeff's engineer. And, you know, his manager's working on a big deal for it. And that could have blown the whole deal.
Oh, man. Don't worry. I'll talk to him. I'll calm him down.
So I sent him a letter and, you know, through the manager and told him, hey, look, dude, that's just a headline that we put up there just so people would read it. You know, I said, I didn't sue you. You know, I didn't sue you. You know, I said, I'd rather have you as a friend than an enemy. So anyway, supposedly he's okay now.
So
very good.
You know, we talked a little bit earlier.
And I hope you don't see this.
Yeah, I know. You'll never
he might
win.
Sue you.
You'll never win,
Jeff,
Carmine.
if you see this, I never plan to. All right?
I love you, Jeff.
Yeah, we all love Jeff. Yeah, he's the best.
No, he's, I mean, another legendary guy, man. I tell you, you know, one of my favorite, I mean, Jeff Beck, there's 1,000 Jeff Beck stories. We all got them. But I got to say, one of my favorite things I ever saw Jeff Beck do personally was when he was on the Kennedy Center Honors with Beth Hart. I don't know if you ever saw this. If you didn't see it, it's I'd Rather Go Blind. He opens it up with these licks, and then Beth Hart comes in with this amazing vocal. It was an incredible performance.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff is Jeff. You know, he's original.
Yeah.
I mean, even, you know, Clapton and Page, they love Jeff because Jeff never settled. You know, he's
one of a kind, man. One of a kind.
One of a kind. He's an amazing player, and you know, he'd rather be building cars than anything. You know.
And that's how you know he's a one of a kind, because you know they're one of a kind when they start playing the first couple freaking 3-4 notes and you know who it is. Those are the one of a kind guys.
I saw him open for Santana once, and before he came on, the lights went down. They didn't come on the stage yet. I heard one note, and in that one note, it was totally Jeff Beck. I got chills, oh my God.
He's got that.
I saw that tour in LA. It was he was opening for Santana. It was great. It was great too.
He's one of my.
He was supposed to come out and jam with Carlos, and he never came out to jam.
No.
Carlos was looking for him, and he never showed up.
No, that's Jeff. Hey, come on,
there.
The first lead I ever learned was Jeff Beck from Blue Wind. And I figured it out by ear, and I was like so happy, like, man, I can play lead now, man. I'm a lead player.
Right. Hey, what's that umbrella doing behind you?
Oh, I set up some lighting in my studio recently to do some filming and whatnot.
It's the whatnot.
For with my porn movies we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I just did my first filming in my studio down here in Florida. I have a guest house that turned into a studio. Vinny's building me the computer to record on, and I did some recording video. I have a song called Code 19 on my Guitarist record, which is all about what's going on now. You know,
Code 19 or COVID-19?
Code 19. But the opening line is feels like we're living in a movie. You know, it's not a dream. It's Code 19. It has homicide, suicide, genocide, everything that's going on around us is in this song. It was written in 1997. You know, so
oh wow.
I decided I'm going to do a video with it. So lyric video. So I did it once. I had a white background, and my video editor said, "Oh man, I wish we had a black background." So I talked to Vinny. I said, "What color background you got there?" "I got a black curtain." So I went out and I bought the biggest tablecloth, black one I could find. I put up a pipe and I covered up all the gold records I had on the wall then. And then I reshot it, and it came out great. So now that's going to come out in a couple of weeks. But that's the first thing I did in my little studio.
Oh, wow, man. You were ahead of your time there with that song.
Unbelievable.
Mr. Moore, obviously you're a Ronnie James Dio fan, of course. We talked about him earlier, and we did reference that it was the 10th anniversary just, 6 weeks ago or something. And I'm bringing this up only because Carmine and Vinny did a tremendous tribute to him, and we did a show right on Ronnie James Dio on that day.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Carm.
Well, let Vinny tell it. My brother Vinny, where'd he go?
I'm trying. He's in and out with us. We're having technical difficulties.
Okay. Vinny, are you there?
Vinny.
Yeah, I was getting cut off here a little bit.
Oh, there you go. You sound
He's
great.
the most technically savvy too, which is ironic.
Okay, so did you hear his question about the Monsters and Heroes? We did the video.
Something inside me is saying that he's doing all this on purpose.
All right. Anyway, Vinny Moore. So we did this song for our solo album called Monsters and Heroes. It was written about Ronnie James Dio by my King Cobra guys, Paul Ciotino, me, and David Michael Phillips. And we did a King Cobra record, but we didn't do this song. And then when I got the rights back, so I gave it to Wendy Dio to use for her Dio tribute charity. So when I got the rights back, we were doing our album, me and Vinny. I said, Vin, this would be a great record for us to do. So lyrics are like Monsters and Heroes, Dragons, Rainbows in the Dark, stuff like that. Great lyrics, So really Vinny liked it. So we put Vinny on the track. So it was the two of us and the three guys from King Cobra on this track on our solo album. So we did that. So then a couple of months ago when it was his birthday coming up, his 10th anniversary of his death, I'm sorry, Vinny called up and said, hey, why don't we do a tribute to Ronnie and we can do that song. And we'll do like what everybody's doing, like these lockdown videos. So we did it. Mm-hmm. And it came out fucking great.
Vinny, do you see that part of the Last in Line concerts, or are we able to see the song or hear the song on tour anywhere? Not that song, no.
No, we do that song when we play, when me and Vinny play together.
Yeah, we do it when we play. Okay, as long as it's out there, because it deserves to be out there. It's a tremendous tribute.
Yeah, I actually played it the other day at one of the clinics online because I have a version without the drums, and I played it for everybody because I really worked on the sound on these clinics. It sounds really good. My drums and got the levels right, so it worked really well.
Well, as a fan, I hope Vinny Moore gets to hear it, and we all get to hear it again because I'm telling you, it really is such a heartwarming tribute. But it's not just a tribute. You can tell it's a tribute from guys who knew him. You can feel it, and that's the
thing. Paul Ciotino was managed by him, so he wrote the lyrics. The opening line, the sing-a-song singer, you're the man on the mountain who wrote the songs we all love. That was the opening line. Great.
I'll look for it, man.
Check it out. Yeah, Monsters and Heroes. You could see the original version from our album with Paul singing and me and Vinny in the official video. Just put APPICE Monsters and Heroes, and it'll come up on YouTube.
Put Appice, don't put a piece, so you won't find it.
That's why I said put APPICE, and you'll find it.
Not to dwell on those rock and rollers that have gone on, but you touched on Phil maybe having a little bit of a health scare, talking about retirement, not talking about retirement. How much was the loss, you think, of the two Pauls, effect on him and on the band? I know losing, Paul Raymond, I love that guy. He was just I know we all did, but I know when he came by, a sweet guy, and it just was so terrible, the loss of Paul Raymond, Paul Chapman. You think that any of that's having an effect on where Phil's thinking about retirement?
No, he started thinking that way before Paul died. We had a year off, and then we went out and we started the Last Orders tour. We were really rolling along, and then Paul died. And I thought, okay, this is it. Phil's definitely not going to want to do it now. It's going to frighten him off again. But for whatever reason, it didn't. And so the logical choice was to go and get Neil Carter, who was in the band in the early 80s, the Paul Chapman era. And Neil came in and kind of revitalized the band, I think. He excited a new energy and really, set us on fire. I feel bad to say that because poor Paul passed on, but
sure.
And we'll miss him, but we're going to roll along and go with it as long as we can.
Yeah, you guys sounded great on that tour with Neil. Neil was so cool, and I never met him before. What a nice guy. Great guy.
Very nice. Yeah, he knows a lot about music too. Instructor.
And Vinny Appice, now that we can. Okay, so you're Vinny, and Vinny Moore, your cousin Vinny, because you can't be a brother.
Yeah.
So, but Vinny, we touched a little bit on, we lost some of our legends and heroes, and obviously, the whole Dio thing. I mean, is it cliche to think that, Dio is still with us, with you when you're on stage, you're feeling his presence? Does that still happen?
Yeah, somewhat for me. But the weird thing is I have a lot of dreams about I'm hanging out with him.
Really?
It's weird,
what does that look like? What does that look like? You guys out? What does that look like?
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I have a lot of these dreams, and Ronnie's in it. I don't know what that means, but he's definitely hanging out.
Are you playing?
Maybe he's waiting for you, Vin.
Oh, thanks.
Please.
Well, there's a song called "After All" on the Black Sabbath, the Humanizer album, and there's some lyrics in there that he read in a book that there's a chance of returning.
Oh,
and
really?
Singing this stuff,
Right.
It really sticks out, those words. I read in a book I once read that there's a chance of returning, and we just went into this Sabbathy big fucking monster riff thing. So who knows? He might be trying to return.
Hey, what about that hologram thing, Ben?
I never really saw it. I saw it on the phone. I really couldn't tell. But you can't. He can't move out of the box. It's a screen. So.
It's like Schenker.
He's like Schenker. Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe he was a hologram.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
I used that Schenker technique at a rehearsal because when Pete Way was in the band, he's one of these guys that is always talking and always getting right up in your personal
Pete,
space.
yeah, Pete,
Yeah. So I formed this little white area, and I said, Pete, you can't come into my zone. And I even wrote on the floor in tape, "No way zone." And it was a joke, but it's funny. He was so respectful. He would stop at the white line and stand there. He would observe my personal space, but then he would lean over into my zone. And he's kind of lanky, so he was still close to me. And I'm like, Pete, you're still invading my airspace. You can't go past that line, even in the air. Oh, Vin, sorry, mate. Oh, yeah, I'll back up.
Sorry, mate.
You sounded just like him.
You really did.
Yeah, that's what he sounds like. We toured with Dio on the Holy Diver tour, and Pete's
Wasted.
what was it? Wasted.
Yeah, we did.
And every night
with Ozzy too. With me, with Ozzy.
Every night he would come up and sit with Ronnie and apologize for something.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, Ronnie. But it was more of an excuse to have a drink with him.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was definitely a drinker.
And then I just found this cassette of, a long time ago. we tried to put a band together. Me, Phil Moog, Pete Way, and Tracy G, who played with me in Dio. And I found this 2 songs, and it fucking so heavy, and Phil's singing his ass off. And I found it, and I sent it to Phil, and I sent it to Eddie Trunk. He's such a fan. Eddie freaked out. He loved it. And I sent it to
you
Phil.
have to release that. Why not release it?
Well, that's what I'd like to do. And he took a while to respond, and then he said, "Oh man, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to listen to it." And then I never heard from him. But this thing
that sounds familiar.
It fucking kicks ass. And Phil's singing like probably the darkest song he's ever sang, because it's really heavy. You know, the guitar
I'd
player.
love to hear that.
What was wrong with Phil? What kind of health scare?
Hey, Vinny,
Well, you know, he had a hernia, and he didn't know what it was for a long time, and he had to get surgery. And then like people started dying, like Fast Eddie Clark and somebody else that he knew, and Chris Sangarides, and he just started to like get spooked. You know, I could go on the road and never go home again, kind of thing. And I think he's gotten over it, and I hope, you know, we do more shows, but we'll see.
It's a good thing he wasn't on the road with me and Vinny in Europe.
What happened there?
I almost freaking died of a massive nosebleed. We were on the plane, and they dropped us off in at the Azores in the middle of the ocean. You know, and Vinny was like took great care of me as a brother.
Wait. We start playing in Canary Islands.
Canary Islands.
We start the Mob Rules song. We go, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I look over, and his blood pouring out of his nose. I mean, pouring.
Air pressure?
I go, holy shit. So he runs off stage. Luckily, the dressing room was behind the stage. It was a nice place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now what do we do? This is whole built.
The fans are going, this rocks. He's bleeding.
Look at them. These guys got real blood effects. So anyway, I had to play 5 songs. I played 5 songs, and then I told the audience, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to check on Carmine. I ran back. It looked like Charles Manson was back there murdering people.
Blood everywhere.
My God, really?
He said, how you doing? I go, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm freaking bleeding. Like, look at it. It looks like a murder scene.
What's it from?
So long story short, we stayed an extra couple of days in there to see if he was tired, and the doctor gave him some blood pressure pills. That was it. So then his Leslie Gold, Carmine's girlfriend, books us a business class flight coming home, you know, so it's less stressful. So we take 1 flight, 2 hours, he's fine. We're in where were we? Was that
Lisbon, Portugal.
Lisbon. Then we hop on the big plane, wide body plane, business class. 2 hours in the flight. I'm enjoying the nice business class thing.
Me too.
I look over, he touches me, I look over, blood's pouring out of his nose on the plane.
Did we find out why? Did we find out why?
Yeah,
well, that's
save it for the show, man.
Yeah, I found out why even now. So I had another episode in March.
So the way we got out of that one, I mean, it was just pouring, it wouldn't stop. All the stewardesses and stewards were over there. They're trying to help them, and filled up a trash bag of bloody tissues and stuff. So luckily, the guy in front of us was a doctor.
He's not my friend.
Was his name
he
Vinny
eventually he had to tell the pilot, look, he had to tell him twice or 3 times, you got to land the plane. Somebody's going to die, and he's a famous drummer. He's going to die on your plane. He's going to bleed out because he lost half his blood. Yeah. So we landed in the Azores Islands, which is dots in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, I guess.
They even have flights in there once a week.
You know? And then we had to get them in the hospital.
Tropical places to get nosebleeds. I know what that's all about. Hey, I'd like to land there in the Azores.
Yeah,
right. I wanted to go to the Azores, but it was quite a thing. And then we had two medical airlifts later. I ended up in New York with my nose packed, and they said 1 more day I would have been dead because
oh my God,
it's all infected. You know.
Were you feeling like faint?
I don't remember half of it. You know, Vinny tells me when I got out of the Azores of surgery they knocked me out to pack my nose. They took me to a room. I don't even remember that at all. I remember waking up. I thought I died. I was in a black room with nobody in it, and I said, I must have died. So I started praying. You know,
I must have
became
died.
more religious that night. You know,
The bad thing was I don't speak their language. So we're in the Azores at this hospital, and the doctor doesn't speak any English.
yeah,
It was a freaking nightmare. And
nightmare.
we were there for 3 days, like,
Yeah,
terrible.
and they didn't really, you know, they're not like American doctors. You know, they do things and it give you pain. They don't care. I started screaming at one point. He's on the phone with my girlfriend, and he's like, she's going, "What's going on?" He goes, "I don't know." He's just, you know, and he's yelling at the doctor.
I came in. What the fuck are you doing? This is my brother, man.
Yeah.
You know, mess with the Italians from
That's
Brooklyn.
why I don't go. I'm not going to Europe or any traveling like that anymore.
You're better off. Just come to St. Charles. That's all we care about.
I'm to St. Charles. That's where I'm going. America only.
Hey,
There you go.
Vinny Moore. So we all have. I know on my side of the equation, we all have our Phil Mogg stories. He's quite the humorous dude. I mean, some of the things he's done and said, I know I've shaken my head, and without getting yourself in any trouble. Do you have any Moggisms that you could share?
Oh man,
You must have a million of them.
I have a million, but I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I'll tell you one. When we did this band, this is 1992. I talked to Phil. Everything was cool, and Pete. So they came over. They flew in, and stayed at my house, and not so. So Phil came in, and then Pete. I picked him up at the airport, and Pete brought his wife, and then he brought his dog. I have cats. And they spent 3 or 4 days at my house, and it was unbelievable what went on, you know, with Pete mainly. You know, Phil would just go, "It's Pete, it's Pete." Yeah. But we had a great time. But what a trip! Unbelievable.
Phil came to my house too once for 10 days. We were supposed to be doing pre-production. I had all these song ideas. I brought him down here in my studio, and I was all set up for him to scout out some whatever lyrics or whatever, working on these songs. And we didn't record one thing of him.
Wow.
He would come down. He didn't even want to listen to the songs on my recording setup. He had a boom box and he was playing songs on a CD, and he was reading his notebook going, "Oh, let's see my notes. Right here, I've written this." Like as if somebody else had written it. He didn't remember.
Wow.
And basically we drank for 10 days and didn't get shit done.
Wow.
And he's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, when we meet in Germany for rehearsals, pre-production, I'll have the lyrics, everything ready then." And then, of course, we showed up there a couple months later, and he had nothing again at all,
So
which is typical.
Phil was English, though, right?
Yeah.
He's English, and he never writes till the last minute. So you never know what the song's going to be. So you record your part, and then when the album comes out, that's when you hear the vocals.
So was Michael Schenker? Was Michael Schenker the only German one in the original band?
Yeah, he was. Yes.
Okay. Good.
That's interesting.
So why recording in Germany?
Our manager lives in Hanover, and found a guy to work with over there named Tommy Newton, who had his own studio. And when I first joined the band, you know, that's kind of the way it went. We did like maybe the first 2 or 3 records there.
Who's the manager?
Peter Knorn.
Okay. I think I heard that name. I don't know him.
Peter,
So
he's been managing for a long time.
over there. What's that?
He's been managing. I mean, I've been dealing with Peter since the beginning. He's been with a long time.
Yeah.
Since I joined the band, he was the manager. He used to manage Schenker before that.
Yeah.
That's amazing that the same manager, 17 years. That's pretty unique.
Yeah.
Especially these days. But I think one of the biggest things that's one of the best things that's come out of this is just, you know, with all, again, on my side of the world, we're being told, you know, UFO retiring, has retired, is going to retire. But it sounds like, you know, notwithstanding this COVID thing, there are no signs of retirement. It doesn't look like. Looks like you're going full speed ahead.
We're winding down the last orders tour is all I know, and I hope it goes on. I hope it's one of those 8-year Scorpions final tours, but of course, it's definitely not going to be that long.
Or the Kiss tour.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, Vinny, I asked all our superstars this question every week. You've been playing forever. You've been playing for a bunch of people, playing for presidents and kings all over the world. Is there one piece of memorabilia or something that you received as a gift that is really something near and dear to your heart? Special.
Me or the other Vinny?
No,
You.
I did this already.
We did this already.
Oh, memorabilia.
Yeah.
Man, not really.
Besides your Frampton poster.
Yeah, I guess that would be it.
That's
I
it?
tend to not
That's
keep
it?
things.
Wow.
Really?
Maybe there's something I'm not thinking of.
You know, Vinny, my brother Vinny had a drumstick from John Bottom. I had a letter from Fred Astaire. You know.
Oh, wow.
So what did you have? Anything like that? You had to have something.
Man, nobody gave me anything.
Okay, Ron, we got to get something to Vinny.
We got to get. You know what? I think he needs a drum head signed by just because my best piece of memorabilia.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
There it is. There's
Here's
the
John Bonham. Can you read it?
No. Oh yeah, you can read it.
Yeah, there it is.
Unfortunately, my letter from Fred Astaire's in the guest house.
That's it.
I'd have a long walk.
We're gonna
I got a
get you
T-shirt from the Arcata once.
What?
Did
I
you
got
get
a
any?
T-shirt from the Arcata once.
Yes.
Did you get any meatballs?
Well, yeah, that we all have one of those, and that's the most sacred. So
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I've had the meatballs
along
several
with
times.
the meatballs, along with
that
the,
and Ron's meatball recipe.
yeah.
Oh, I can think of something.
Yes.
I thought of something.
Yes.
I opened for Rush in 1991, and at
Wow.
the end of the tour, they left me a bottle of Dom Perignon and signed it, and I still have that.
All
So
right.
that's
There
probably-
you go.
That's cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Cool.
When you say you open for him as what?
Vinny
Vinny
Moore.
Moore
solo
band.
tour?
I had a record out called Meltdown back in '91, and I was touring with JD from Black Label Society on
I know
bass and Brian
JD.
Tishy on
Yeah, JD. Yeah.
great player, great guy. Yeah,
He is.
Yeah.
Great dude.
Brian
So
Tishy
who's-
played
who is
drums, and we got to open for Rush.
Who played
Who's
drums?
somebody that you would have liked to have played with, Vinny?
Wait.
Yeah.
Brian Tishy played drums, and
Oh, okay. Brian Tishy. Yeah. Brian's awesome.
yeah,
I love
yeah, he's a great player.
Oh, we got to get Brian on the show. Brian's fun.
Yes,
that's a good
absolutely. Great personality.
Yeah, he is.
You know what's funny? Like Rush had this big production, like 10 tour buses and all these semis, and we were out in a minivan, this little
Yeah.
white Dodge Caravan.
That's what I was
So
talking
we drive up to these arenas in this little minivan and pull right into the venue, you know, hockey arenas, right up to the dressing room door. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
You could
know,
probably pull into the dressing room.
Yeah.
Almost.
We did that one time with Jeff Beck when we played Philadelphia at the Spectrum. Right. We drove down.
That's
Me and
my
Tim
home
had.
venue.
I know. Me and Tim Bogut had matching Panteras. I had a red one. He had a white one. So we drove down New Jersey Turnpike. Jeff Beck drove with me. The tour manager drove with Tim. And when we got to the venue, they opened that back thing. Oh, there's the
There it is.
We drove right into the venue, right in between, like where the trucks would pull in, you know, and it was in between the bleachers, and you heard the engines in there, boom, boom, you know, and you see the people, the fans are looking over things, and what the hell is that? And then 4 of us get out, and me and Tim go right on the stage with Jeff and go play. It's hilarious.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah,
That was my home venue as a kid, man. The Spectrum in Philly.
Yeah.
Philly. I was so sad they tore it down. I went to
Yeah.
all my concerts there, and
I played
luckily
there
got to
many
play
times.
there 3 times.
Yeah, I played there with Rod Stewart. We did 5 nights there with Rod. And my first time playing the Spectrum was Vanilla Fudge, headlining a whole bunch of people with Big Brother and Grateful Dead and all this stuff in the Spectrum. Yeah, it was a
I
great.
played there 6 nights.
Yeah, over 6 years.
Six
Yeah,
and
right.
6.5 nights.
Underwater.
I've been there more than 6 times, but seeing other people.
Yeah,
He's
I
been
saw
there.
Jeff Beck and Stevie Ray Vaughan there. It was really
yeah,
cool.
Nice.
That's an amazing show, and you know what? That's how I found when I deal with you celebrities and you rock stars. I've found that the best ones, you know, the ones who have the most the talent, the variety of talent, are the ones who are really fans of the music, true fans, not just into themselves, but into other people, other performers. That seems like that's you guys all the way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Who is
Absolutely.
somebody that you would buy a ticket beside the two guys that you're on this TV show with? Who is somebody that you would buy a ticket to anymore?
To go see?
Yes, today.
I bought tickets last summer to see Carlos Santana. That was an amazing show with the Doobie Brothers opening. I would buy tickets for Jeff Beck, Paul McCartney, tons of people.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, Carm, does it look like do you keep in touch? I know I asked this earlier, but as it pertains to like Beck going out on tour and that stuff, do you get inside tracks and that kind of thing if Jeff's going out?
No, I would hear that he's going out, and then I'd always have like a cell phone of his or a tour manager's cell phone. But then now he's changed management so many times that, you know,
yeah.
I don't know who to get in touch with for that anymore, you know.
And how about you, Vinny Vin? How about you with Ozzy? Do you have anything like, for
Ron.
example, how his health is these days? Do you have like an inside track on what's going on with him?
I have no idea. No.
Oh, is he with us?
But I did find a
Yeah, that
box.
surprises me. You know?
Being that we're home all the time, I clean my closet. I found a box of Ozzy Christmas cards that they sent for the last, like, not the last, but about 3 years worth of all different cards, of really custom cards with the Osbournes and stuff. Well, I forgot about this. Really cool stuff in there. And
I just
Ozzy.
found one of those too. When we unpacked it, I had the Richie Sambora card.
Wow. You know, it's really something for me personally. I mean, I'm a fan, and I get to be on this kind of a show. You're talking Vanilla Fudge. We're talking, you know, Dio. We're talking Black Sabbath, UFO. I mean, who's the freaking luckiest guy? That's me. Vinnie Moore, thank you for joining us on Artists on Lockdown this week.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to keep
Great
in
to
touch
hear.
with you.
I'm glad you did it, man. That's fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
See you. You haven't
Great
changed
talking to you
much.
guys.
Haven't
Hope we can
seen
do some
you.
work together soon.
Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while, and you still look the same.
I'm trying. Time is
Vinny.
the enemy.
Hey, Vinny, if I got to mention
Well,
that band
all
I
the
did
best
with
to all
Phil.
you guys.
Wait a minute, the band I did with Phil, you know, it was me and Tracy G from Dio. And with Phil, we called it UFDO.
Ah,
Well, that's pretty funny.
What
That's
was
a great name. UFDO.
Totally. I didn't get it right away.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's
Let's
great.
do that show again.
Perfect name for that, you know.
Wow, that was a good. Too bad that didn't happen. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Cool
text
idea.
him tomorrow and get those tracks. I want to hear it.
Heck yeah, man, you have to. Hey, I want to thank Ben Wheeler and Stephanie over here for putting this all together for us. Of course,
Yep.
Steve Love Production, putting this all on the road for us. And Vinnie Moore, once again, thanks for being part of our brotherhood.
Yeah,
here.
Vinny.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Next week, we're moving to Thursday, 7 o'clock with Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden.
Iron
sweet.
Maiden. I mean, come on. How
Okay.
lucky am I?
Awesome
Thank
guy.
you all out there. Everybody, please like, share, tell everybody about Artists on Lockdown. We got so many more episodes coming up with the legends of rock and roll like Vinnie Appice,
Uh-oh.
Ron
Carmine
Onesti.
Appice, and our special guest tonight, Mr. Vinnie Moore. All the best, you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Hey, man,
Appreciate
take care,
it.
bro. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
See ya.